Hello, my Gemini friends. This is Kristen Redman, Astrological Intuitive, and today we are going to be talking about the planetary influences that are going to be making up the year 2021 for you. Now, just so you know, these are an overall general view of the sun sign of Gemini and what it has in store, which is actually quite a bit, quite a bit this year. But if you want to know how these planetary energies affect your specific birth chart, I highly recommend reaching out to an astrologer like myself. I have a link below so you can schedule a reading. We each have a roadmap that our birth chart is, and this where we talk about today is general for your sign. Your roadmap is specific to you, and it would be super beneficial for you to see how these energies are specifically impacting you this year. So let's get to it. Hey, Gemini. This is an interesting year. We've got a lot going on with the eclipses, but also in general, this is a year of personal growth that is highlighted by those eclipses. New career possibilities are on the forefront as well too, due to the planetary energies. And the Mercury retrograde, which Mercury is your sign, helps you to reframe your ideals, how you communicate with yourself and with others, how you learn and how you express yourself. This is a huge year. So let's dive right in so that way I don't take 25 minutes to do a video here. Okay, so let's start with money. Let's start with the sector of money for you, my Gemini friends. Now, what we have out there in the sky is this planet known as Mars, and Mars is the engine that makes things go. It makes things happen and it brings energy. Mars retrograded in 2020 and it stalled the engine out for everybody. I mean, we can definitely see how that played out. But for you, it's starting to move through sectors where it hasn't been for 2 years, one of which is the house of finances. Now, it moves through that second house of finances for you April 22nd to June 11th. And as it does, Mars is the warrior, okay? It brings new energy where energy has been stagnated. So of course it's going to inject your house of finances with some new, much needed energy. But it's also going to infuse it with confidence for you to, let's say, approach your boss for a raise. Let's say maybe it's a matter of standing up and saying, you know what? I am ready to start doing this side hustle of mine, and Mars coming through is going to give you the energy and the confidence to do that, to make that extra money that you're looking for. But it's certainly going to give you the fire under yourself to pay off debts, to start working on how you make your money, where you put your money. Mars is really going to have you looking at that and assessing it in that time frame as well. Now let's move on to love and relationships for our Geminis. Now, what's going to be happening is that the eclipse cycles that started in 2020 for you were major changes for Gemini out there because of the eclipse cycles. Eclipses in astrology represent where the new beginnings are going to be happening. So we always look to see where those eclipses are hitting someone's chart so we know where the new beginnings are coming in. Last year, we had the Gemini eclipses that hadn't happened for 9 years. Okay, so you have this new energy that's trying to come through, bring new beginnings for you. And so this is the second half of it this year. This is where you start to see the fruit of the action of these eclipses that were turning things up, bringing the endings for you last year. This is where the new beginnings are going to be happening. One of which is in the house of relationships, marriage, partnerships. All right, that's pretty awesome, right? Now, this happens because of a reframing of your mindset that you have around relationships, around those close one-on-one relationships. And as a result, new beginnings start to come in. There's a full moon that brings these new insights. That is going to be on December 18th. It's the last full moon of the year as well. It also brings pretty fresh insights onto the patterns that you have that repeat again and again in relationships and how that needs to change. All right. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen in December. This could happen. This could have already happened last year. And you'll find that at these eclipse dates this year, May 26th, and again that one that happens in December, that is where you start to literally let go of the past baggage that goes in with the relationships, the old ideals that worked in relationships, the old patterns and the old ways, because you see them very, very clearly now. This may also bring relationships to the surface that are no longer working, okay? Maybe last year gave you a big old sign from the eclipses that happened, especially the November 30th eclipse in Gemini in 2020. Maybe you got the hint. And this year it's like, okay, this relationship is not working for me anymore, and it's time for me to move on and move forward into something new. Maybe you're not ready to cut it off like that. Maybe you're ready to just bring some major new beginnings. This is the year where those beginnings will really start to take hold in relationships, especially the one that happens in December, that December 4th time frame. I can't turn the page. I don't know why my page isn't turning here. Hold on, my Gemini friends. I guess as we wait for that page to turn, another thing to look at too is that these eclipses are bringing new beginnings to you regardless, right? They're happening on the axis of the house of the self and the personality. So there's a whole bunch of turning and reconfiguring of who you are on this end. And on the opposite end, it is those relationships that benefits from that. So you have to have one with the other. And the time frame to really put your new intentions for new beginnings this year is going to be at the Gemini eclipse, the solar eclipse and the new moon that happens on June 10th. Pivotal time frame for you this year. And so that's when you want to put your intentions into the moon for where you want to see these new beginnings happening. And then moon cycles work in tandem. So the 6-month cycle after that is going to be the December 18th, last full moon of the year. And that is going to be your full moon. That's the Gemini full moon. That's when things reach their completion. That's where cycles reach their end. So those are also very, very pivotal time frames for you as well. Now for career, we talked a little bit about career before. What's happening is that Jupiter is the planet of luck and opportunity, and it takes 12 years to move around that sun. So it takes 12 years to land in your career house like it did, beforehand. What's going to happen in the middle of the year, around May, June, in that time frame, Jupiter, the planet of luck, is going to be moving into your career sector in your chart. Whoop, bloop, in your chart. Now, what happens when that occurs is that opportunities that wouldn't have been there otherwise pop up. You meet new people. You start networking. Somebody leaves the job, and then you get promoted. There's all of these things that can happen under the influence of Jupiter. You just never know, because it's just like luck finally comes in your favor. It will give you a glimpse of things to come, because it's only there for this tiny bit of time, and then it'll return at the end of the year, and it'll be there through the remainder of 2022. So you'll get a little bit of a heads up on what type of career changes are going to be coming to you come the beginning part of summer. Now, where the retrogrades are happening for you are in the quadrants of happiness and children, all right? Just in general, the things that bring you happiness and joy. Mercury retrograde, Mercury is your planet. It's the planet of thought, communication, speed. All of those things fall into the category of Mercury. And then when it retrogrades 3 times every year, that gives everybody a chance to kind of step back, go offline, and reassess. Okay? That's the time notoriously when communications fall off the map, because Mercury's gone retrograde. Now for you, this is an extra pivotal time to reconfigure how things are moving. Where this is hitting your chart this year is in the houses that bring you happiness, romance, and children as well too. So I see this as a time where there's a little bit of crossed wires, okay, because Mercury retrograde, communication is going backwards in those areas. This might be a time where you're having a hard time connecting with your kids. It's a hard time connecting with new romantic partners. It's a hard time verbalizing your needs to these people. And in these Mercury retrograde periods, this year, that'll be the time frame where the universe is going to show you, ooh, we're having some breakdowns here. Let me get you the time frames. So the actual Mercury retrograde time frames. And while I'm doing that, this is a time for you to really reassess how it is that you talk, right? How it is that you communicate those wants and needs. January 30th to February 20th is the first one. The second one is May 29th to June 22nd. And the last one is September 26th until October 18th. Those are going to be pivotal time frames for you, because not only are you going to be able to reassess, once they go direct, you're going to have the energy behind you to actually start putting into practical action how to change the way that you talk. Each one's going to take on a little bit of a different flavor. Okay, but that's definitely going to be something where you're going to be on the lookout this year, where there's just a little bit of miscommunication that's happening in those areas. Once it gets moving again, that means that the communication lines are going to be open and clearer than they have been in a long time. Okay, so now one of the things that we have now is that Jupiter, remember I was saying it's moving into your career house through 2022, really bringing some amazing opportunities. Right now what's happening is that Jupiter, that planet of luck and opportunity, is trying to push you outside of your comfort zone in 2021. How it's doing that is it wants you to actually start exploring new lands, exploring new beliefs, exploring the beliefs of different religions and cultures, because in that you find yourself. These eclipses have been happening to really uncover the real you, the real Gemini that's inside of there. And you'll find that in 2021, if you're able to travel, you're going to be going to areas that help you explore inner landscape of you that you've never seen before as well. This may also be a time where you start to go back to school. Or another thing too that Jupiter could be doing to push you outside of your comfort zone in this 9th house, it actually has to do with teaching. You are a natural born teacher and you have so much information inside of you. This is a year where Jupiter is going to push that, make opportunities that appear that haven't been there for 12 years, where you actually may start teaching all of this amazing wealth of knowledge you have to others. You may be called on to do it at work. You may be surprised at the way that Jupiter brings it through. Not only do you have that, but you also have Saturn moving through in a 30-year cycle right behind it. So where Jupiter is bringing luck and opportunity, Saturn is there to stabilize that and make sure that it has a good solid ground under its feet. All right. This is a year where you're going to start to go within and explore what spirituality means to you. And so Saturn is there to kind of help set boundaries with yourself and with whatever energies you're trying to bring in, so that you can still control the physical and the tangible to it, but open yourself up to greater ideals. It's a very amazing, wonderful thing. Okay. Now, one of the things like we talked about too is that access, right, of new beginnings happening for you, new beginnings happening in relationship. The relationship part isn't going to happen until this part happens here, where you work on the personal growth. 2020 showed you a lot about what had to change. Now we're putting it into practical action, right? So what starts it out is that we have Mars going over the top of your chart, and this is going to be happening March 4th to April 23rd. Mars goes over there. Remember, Mars is the one that injects new energy and brings new beginnings as well. The warrior spirit comes back to you where it hasn't been there for 2 years, filling you with confidence to really set out into 2021 to make these major changes. Going after what it is you want, right? Going after what it is you want and having the confidence to do it. That's where it's going to be a little bit different. Your energy levels increase. You're going to see a big change in you that hasn't been there since all of these things started bubbling up in you at the beginning part of 2019. Now, this is here where you're exploring your authentic self, focusing on the self. And this new moon and eclipse that happens in Gemini in your sign, June 10th, this one is vital. Pay attention to what the universe is showing you in that time frame, because it really helps you to break away from the past, whether it's self-limiting beliefs, whether it's beliefs that you're not worth it, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not talented enough. All of these things that happen in this time frame are going to help you break away from that, so you can really truly start living in the next cycle of what Gemini has to offer for you. Now, let's look at certain birthdays. Like I said at the beginning of this, right? This is very generic for Gemini. Now, what we have here is specific birthdays, but if you want to know more, please click on the link below and set up a Zoom reading with me, FaceTime reading, phone. We can go in a little bit deeper. But in general, for those with the birthday of May 20th to June 5th, Saturn out there in the sky is going to be adding responsibilities to you, but you have to draw a line in the sand and let people know, okay, this falls in my bucket of responsibility, but this falls in your bucket of responsibility. Saturn is going to be testing you a lot this year with that, to see if you are able to show the universe, this is mine to deal with and this is yours to deal with, and I will let you deal with this and I will deal with mine. A lot of that's going to be happening in the sky of exploring new limits. What are your boundaries, Gemini, with yourself and with others? That's what the universe is asking if your birthday falls in that May 20th to June 5th category. Now, May 24th to June 21st, Jupiter out there in the skies, that's the one that I was telling you that brings luck and opportunity blindly out of nowhere. It is working tenfold with you this year. Totally making this a lucky year, coupled with the new beginnings that are going to be happening. This is a really vital time for you, okay? The number one thing that you have to do, turn this dude off, right? You are such a tangible, physical, real person that you're always in your mind. For the luck and the opportunity and the blessings to come through, you have to go on blind faith. Not by what this dude up here is telling you, it's by what your heart and what your soul is telling you. Major growth comes through that for you this year. Now, if your birthday falls between June 10th and June 15th, Neptune is going to be working with you in the sky. Neptune is the planet that asks for you to surrender and release. Okay, this is a year especially for you. You are the Geminis that are going to be extremely tapped into your spirituality and your creative side. They go hand in hand. Now, the more creative you become, the more in tune you are with the energy of God and how you radiate your specific energy of the energy of God. That's very front foremost. But this is a year of surrendering and acceptance for things that have changed, what you can control and what you can't control. That's the big thing for y'all this year in the skies. So, my Gemini friends, this is a major year. Embrace it, enjoy it, because these type of cycles aren't going to be occurring for another decade. So listen to what the universe is telling you. Follow your intuition, follow your heart. Set those boundaries with yourself and with others, and there's no limit to what 2021 can bring for you. Thank you so much for watching.